Hey, welcome back to our aptly named Rock Driveway Productions. As usual, we're doing some work on some things over the next few weeks. The my Mark 8, because now we have two Mark 8s. You guys have seen everything on mine. So we're going to be adding the new Unitronics UAF feature box. Probably going to do that tomorrow. We have a 4-lens projector, 1300 strand headliner star kit that we're going to be installing in it. That's going to probably be a next weekend or weekend after project. But today we're going to be installing a sub and an amp into the car. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be installing it here, right down here into the floor is going to be the sub. And then we'll build a box around it underneath of it that'll attach to this other piece of MDF. So to get started, obviously, we got to get some things cleaned out. We got to get this whole thing out of here. We got to disconnect our tank and our compressor from our manifold unit. Take this inside. We got to take everything off from it, remove the material that is on it, and start laying out and getting ready. So we have a Rockville Punisher 10-inch sub. It is putting out, I think its max output was 3,000 watt at 850 RMS. And then we've got a Rockville amp that's going to go with it. That's at equal power. It's a 3,000 watt peak amp at 800 RMS. So I think I think that's going to just suffice just fine in here. We're going to be splicing into the subunit with the LCI 2 Pro. And this is all going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to see how this goes. I'm going to film this in different segments, and I'm going to actually try to edit my videos for a change. There's no sense in continuing on down the same sad path when there's room for improvement. So we're going to do that. As for the other color, we are getting ready to put a stage 1 Unitronic tune on it. We're also going to add a UAF feature box to this one as well. This is my daughter's car. She's just started college. She loves this thing. Eventually, yes, we'll probably bag it, or we'll throw some H&Rs on it at least and give it a better stance. It's pretty stock at this point, other than the niche aftermarket wheels that are on it. Still stock exhaust, stock downpipe. There's nothing that's been touched on this car. We just picked it up about 6 months ago, I think. So we're, you know me, we're gonna start doing some stuff to it, and we're gonna continue doing stuff to my car as well. But yeah, other than that, we're gonna get right into this. All right, we've gotten the compressor and the tank and the material off from our board. I've shifted gears. I've kind of changed what I'm going to do, which is going to work out a little bit better for me. But anyways, these are the components that we're installing into this. I don't really... I like buying stuff. I mean, yeah, I can buy a box, but let's face it, any Mark GTI is going to have limited trunk space. My trunk space is already partially compromised by a compressor and a tank. The manifold is mounted, beneath this. So I like to save space. So rather than put a pre-built box into my trunk space, I wanted to hide it underneath my subfloor in the back. So I'm going to relay out reconfigure my layout on here. because things are going to be a little bit different as far as with the tank and the compressor and an amp and the sub and everything else. So, and since we'll go through real quick what we're putting in here and what we're building, and then we'll get right into building it. So, and 100% transparency, I've been in the car world since, I don't know, I was 10, 11 years old. A lot of lowrider friends back in the 90s on hydraulics and a lot of big systems and this and that. I've never had a system. I went from being a Volkswagen Bug guy to a muscle car guy, back to Volkswagen, into Beetles, but also into the newer GTIs and tuning and everything. So this is my first install ever, but it's, you know, you look at it, it's really easy, it's really straightforward. First off, we're starting off, everything I'm putting in is Rockville. We have the Rockville, it's a DB series, DB25 V2 amp. This one is putting out 3,000 watts of peak power and 750 watts on the RMS. So we have a Rockville competition 10-inch sub. This one is rated at 3,200 peak watts and 850 RMS. Sure, I'd push a little more, but I'm going to go down into 1 ohm and push this thing hard anyways. So this is going to be the sub that's going in. We're going in with a single because, let's face it, this thing is all we're going to need. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a shame to hide most of it, but it is what it is. So we'll go with that. So basically, and then we've got our LC2i Pro that we picked up. This is going in because we are splicing into the GTI's factory sub that is in there. And I can actually grab that and show it to you because I just so happened I had it in here because I was using it for some measurements and stuff. So this is it. This is the factory sub. It goes down into the wheel well. Over the spare tire, you've got the thread piece for the spare tire. This goes over that, and then it tightens down. It holds the whole thing in. So this is the factory sub. And sure, it sounds all right. When I put this in, it didn't sound so good anymore for obvious reasons because it's under 3/4 inch of freaking particle board. So, but we're going to splice into that with this. Convert that signal right into the RCAs that we need to go directly into the amp, blah, 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 and we'll cover all that later. But right now, this is basically what we're going to do. I was going to mount the speaker into this and build the box to the bottom of this. I had a moment to think about it, and that's stupid because now I'm making more added weight because this is already 30 pounds on its own, not counting the MDF board, and when you work with it, you know it's very dense and very heavy. So why add 60 pounds of weight to this? We are going to cut a 10-inch diameter circle so this recesses into this. Now we are going to put, I am going to put my fur back on here, material. You know, everybody's got their hardwood floors. I just wanted something different. I think we've been over that, but we're going to recess this down into here so it won't be attached to this board. So we're going to build our own box. So I went out there, I cut a strip of wood, laid it where this would sit, went out there, took multiple measurements, comes up, what was it, 9 7/8 of an inch. Actually, halfway over 7/8 of an inch, so I'm basically 10 inches. We're going to build a 10-inch high box. Now, box volume, you'll get this with your sub. It's going to have all kinds of stuff on here that you need to know. Some of it you don't. Box volume vented, 1.9 cubic feet, but we're building a sealed box, so it's 0.88 cubic feet. Do the math on that, and you come up with a box that's 10 inches tall, but it has 12 and 3/8 of an inch on each side. That'll give us our volume that we need, that's recommended from the factory for the sub. And that will, we're actually going to put some L bracket mounts down in the bottom, and so that the sub box can be sturdy down there. And that way, if you need to take this out, like we did when we pulled it out, which the tank and everything attached, and you just disconnect the wires, disconnect one air line that feeds the tank, or that feeds the manifold from the tank, and then you just pick this piece up and it comes out. So that weight's going to be underneath of it. You'll just grab it, pull it out. I'm not sure if we are mounting this on the wall in the side yet, or if this is going to go on here. Again, we're going to work on layout. Once we get the box built, we'll start laying everything out. So from there, we're going to get some MDF board up here, start laying our measurements out. Then we're going to get them cut up. We'll glue them. We'll brad nail everything. We've got 1 3/4 18 gauge brad nails. You can screw it, but you have to drill your pilot holes because that MDF board is going to split, and then it's going to ruin it. So, yeah, we'll get right into it. All right, after messing with the layout, I think this is what I'm going to go with on here. We will build a bracket that'll hold our amp up at an angle and let it breathe. We're also going to put a piece of Lexan underneath of it. We did the same thing with the compressor. The compressor creates a lot of heat, and let's face it, the material I have, that, I mean, that's like a 2.5 inch fur. We don't want it on that heat when the compressor is running. We're dropping and picking it up a lot in parades or something, and it runs a lot. It'll overheat. We don't want any issues, so we put Lexan under it. We're going to do the same thing with the amp, because we are going to be running this 1 ohm, which means we're going to be pushing this amp as hard and as continuous as we can when we are in the car. Now, this is my daily. I say daily. I'm not home really a lot. I'm gone Monday through Friday through the work week, out with work, and then I'm home on the weekends and hang out with the wife and hang out with the daughter, and we might go and hang out and do stuff on Saturday, but that's about it. So, and when my wife's in the car, she's not going to want to hear this. So, we're not going to make her. We'll turn the bass down so it's back towards kind of factory settings, so she don't have to hear it. But this is the layout we're going to go with. It's fairly similar to what we had as far as the tank. The compressor has moved over to a 45 to kind of mirror the 45 we've got going over here. The tank will mount right back to where it was originally mounted. We're going to trace out a hole, or trace out a line all the way around here and cut this hole out. So when we set this in over the box, the sub, this lip, will set inside this lip. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll get some quick shots of just tracing this out. We're going to get everything drawn out, and then we're going to get into cutting. So yeah, stand by. All right, I hope it's not too windy. I got up this morning. I was excited to get started. I forgot to to set the camera up. So we've cut most of our pieces. I prefabbed. I kind of just did a layout. Wanted to see how the box looked, check all the measurements. I made a mistake in my math. This box needs to be a total height of 10 inches to fit into its space, and to have its proper its proper cubic feet inside for the speaker. So I got to go back and I got to cut 1.5 inches off from all of the sideboards, which isn't a big deal. We'll knock that out real quick, and then we'll get into the funner stuff. Alright, we're back. We've got all of our pieces cut for our box. We've also cut the recessed hole that goes into the subfloor for this to actually recess into the speaker. So, tight bond 3, brad nailer 18 gauge. I'm using, was it 1 3/4 inches? Yes, 1 3/4 inches. What I'm using. So again, you can screw these, but you're gonna have to pre-drill all your holes, and then you're gonna have to screw them all, and that's just a lot of work. I don't have a brad nailer. Well, I didn't have one. Harbor Freight's great for their air tools are great. Their wrenches and sockets, not so much, but I like their air tools. I've never had any problems with any of them. So I picked this up for $25 yesterday. Picked that up for, I don't know what it was, 15, 20 bucks for a crap load of them. Am I ever going to use this again? I don't know. But for $24, shit, I don't mind if it sits in a drawer. So we'll get into this. Basically, and to start, mine's going to be difficult. I probably should have made this piece smaller and let these sit on the outside so I could have come from the side, but I'm going to have these, to get these started, I'm going to have to go this way from the bottom, but it is what it is. So basically what you do, you put a little squiggly of glue along there, you'll take your other piece, you'll marry them up, you'll come along with the brad nailer, all the way along there. You won't nail your wife's table. And then we'll build this whole thing. I've got everything. Everything's marked, so all the markings will go to the inside. Everything's already been test fitted. The speaker fits in this perfectly, just great. So we're gonna get to it, and yeah, we're gonna build us a speaker box. We've got the box put together. So everything's been glued. We're gonna go back, and we can do it once we do the top on, but it's gonna be easier to do most of it now. I want to go back along with silicone, and we want to get into everything. We want to seal this box up, make sure it's airtight. I'm doing a sealed box. I'm not doing a vented box. So we want to seal it up, seal it up, seal it up. Once we got all that done, we'll attach our last piece onto the top here. And then, once we've got it glued and nailed, we'll go in and we'll silicone around the edge of that. And this box will be ready. Then we can put we'll probably just I've got some speaker box deals. We'll probably just put one in, cut a big circle here somewhere in the side of the box for the connectors. Mount that in there, silicone that in, Let's put that in. We'll get the speaker mounted in, and then this box will actually be pretty much done once we get the speaker wired in and everything. That can go back in. Then we can rebuild our subfloor and re-put all of our material and all of our stuff back on there and get everything ready to go in, and then we can start running the wires for the the power wire for the amp. That's got to be ran, and the remote wire's got to be ran up. The RCs don't have to, RCAs, because they're already going to be back there, because again we're using the LC what is it, the LC2i Pro or LCI2 Pro, whatever it is, LCI2 Pro. So that's our box there. We'll finish this off real quick, and we'll get ready to move forward to the next stage. Alright, we're gonna get ready to wire our sub up. So this is a dual coil sub. We're gonna run it at 1 ohm. So we'll show you how we're gonna do that. We took this is 14 gauge speaker wire. I got a Rockville wiring kit for an amp. I bought everything, so obviously we have everything we need. So we drilled a 5/16 hole in the box. We're gonna fill that with a lot of silicone on the inside of this hole. Then we're going to go on the inside of there, and we're going to puddle up. There's a whole blob of silicone all around it. We want this to be airtight. So you're going to want to bring some extra wire through so you can work, separate them. I'm going to make the wire with the writing. It's going to be our positive. So in order to do the dual coil, you got 2 sets of connections. So we're going to run our farthest one out. We're going to connect it into positive. And we're going to strip off some of our material. We may strip off a little bit more, actually. Not ideal. Go. Connect that one right into that one. You're going to do the same thing with our negative. It's more slack. First, we will get the end off. Stick that one right into our negative. And we're going to run around. So from here, twist it all up nice and neat. So now, now, I'm going to pull our slack. A bunch of this out, stop. I'm going to push a little bit back in. And then we're going to silicone this up. Okay, I want this to set up before I start messing with anything again. Actually, we're going to change this because I need the extra slack to get my speaker back out. Once this sets up, we'll come back to this, we'll pull the speaker, we'll silicone on the inside, silicone ring around. First, before we silicone ring around, we will pre-drill our holes. Bob's your uncle, and we'll be done. So we're going to set this off to the side for now. We're going to get set up to do the next bit of our project, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, here we are. We've got everything else done. The subfloor is done. Everything is mounted on it. We'll show you that when we're putting it in. We've got to run 2 wires from the front to the back. One, obviously, we've got to run a power wire for the amp. We'll ground it back here. We also have to run a remote wire up to the front for the bass control knob. Other than that, that's all that's going to the front. So we're going to run it the same way we ran all of our stuff for our air ride, which I'll show you here. Oh, it tucks up. Just pull your back seat out. They pop in and out. They literally, I mean, just pull straight up on it. It'll snap out. We removed all the trim along the side, all the way up into the front. That all pops, snaps in and out too. Just pull straight up on it. It'll come out. So we're going to run this power wire inside, and I know I got a lot of shit in here, but there's room for it, so we're gonna run it in there. We'll run it right up. Oh, where's it at? There's a rubber grommet. It's somewhere right up in there. See that black hole back there? It won't focus on it. It's trying to focus on the stuff in the front of it. Well, we're going to run it through there. The same place we ran our other was. Our airlines ran through their own deal. Power line ran separately. So everything will come up. You got to pull your battery. And here's what sucks. You got to pull your battery. You got to pull your battery box. You got to pull your air box to get the battery box out. Because grown man's hand is not fitting down into that teeny little hole there. So we'll run that up out of there. We'll leave it sit until later, till we splice everything on. We are going to splice right into here. This is what we got. I'll probably just cut this tab off and keep it. because I'll keep the amp as well, or I mean the factory sub deal. So we'll cut this off and splice this in straight into our LCI 2 Pro. When I was talking about Volkswagen being smart, this is what I was talking about. So just grab it, push down, turn, comes right out. Now it's out of the way. So my box is gonna sit right in here. I had a board in here. This is basically how I did it. This is my board. That's the subfloor that sits there. So we took a measurement from the highest point up to the subfloor. That's how we determined the size of our box that we were building. So our box will go into here. 4 L brackets, 2 on each side. We're gonna mount it down to the floor. And then when we set the other piece in, it'll set in and it'll set right over that speaker. The speaker will come right up through it. But we'll splice in, we'll mount our LCI 2 Pro to the side of our sub box underneath. We don't want to get too out of hand. We're going to keep it clean. That doesn't need to be seen. The amp is going to be mounted up on top of the subfloor. We've got it mounted at a 45-degree angle on a couple of mounts. It's got nothing but air underneath of it, so it can breathe while it's working hard. And yeah, I think that's about it. We'll set up here and we'll get to working. Most of this is going to be in hyperlapse because I mean, basically what we just talked about is pretty straightforward. And then we'll probably mount that bass knob right over here by my, where's it at? Oh, there it is. Right over there by my street glow switch. So we'll mount it probably right up in here, right next to it. We'll have a little control knob there. We'll be able to take care of everything and turn the bass up and down. And so there we go. You can see that the car is obviously dirty. We're going to get back into it though. We were not going to do a video of you can't really hear sound in a video. You can't hear the quality of the sub. I mean, I guess we could turn it up and let you listen to it rattle, but that's just stupid. So we'll get set up and we'll get back into it. Alright, we're back in here. Got the sub kind of sitting roughly right where it's got to be sitting. Starting to get cool out here. Was pretty nice, but it is what it is. So we're splicing into these. Whites are positives, browns are negatives. So yellow stripes go together, solids go together. We'll splice into these. We'll hook some speaker wire to these, and then we'll run them around and hook them right into our LC2i Pro. And we're basically going to start running wires. We're got that for the deal. We got to clean off a spot here to connect to ground. Honestly, I could probably just connect it to that same one right there, but we'll see. Maybe we'll just put a eyelet on the end of it and put it on there. Once we get this ran into here, the RCAs, then we can bring the IOS piece out here. The RCAs will plug in. We'll get it in here. They're already in the top board. Plug those in. We're going to rob power, our power and ground. We'll rob our ground right here, but we're going to rob our power from our amp as well. So we'll run a line up and we'll hook in with that power line right there to give our LC2i Pro the power that it needs. And then this is the sub speaker. It's going to run up through the holes. You know, the amp's right here. So it'll come up kick in right there. Everything will be clean. We'll have minimal wiring, minimal everything. If you guys have watched my videos, you know that that's just, I try to do things smart and clean. And I get complimented a lot when I'm out at shows and out in public. People come up quite often, and that's always the one word they use to describe my car is clean. The build is clean, and it is. At least in my eyes it is. So we'll get into this, and a lot of this will be time-lapsed because, you know, it is what it is. Once we get it actually wired up, then we'll come in here and we'll show you over here exactly what we've done, and on the amp exactly what we've done, so that if you have any questions, or if you're building something similar, or you're getting conflicting information, you can know that whatever I'm doing here has been tested before we ever uploaded the video, so we know it's good. But yeah, let's get to it. Alright, we're back at it. It's the next morning. I ended up not having the right gauge wire for the power and the ground on the LCI2. So, we just went ahead and stopped where we were at. It's getting dark. It was getting cold anyways. So here we are. We're going to pick back up. First off, we're going to reassemble everything in here. These are the parts that got to go back in. We got to get the battery tray back in, battery mounted back in there, air breather back in. Then we can reconnect everything. We are not going to connect the wires or anything for that yet, but we got to get power back to it because we closed the trunk and now we can't open the trunk. So, and that's all good and well, and that's fine. So, we'll be making another video today too. Unitronic's new UAF feature box. Boom, this one's going to be a fun one. That connects right up under here. There's, these pop this off, pop that off, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to do that, and that one's going to be a fun, easy, fun video to do. Because my daughter and I, we both have one for me. We got one for her. We have got a stage 1 tune from Unitronic and that coming for her. So we're going to be rolling around, popping and banging at the shows. It'll be fun just to be goofy and you know, have a head turner for the pops. But other than that, we're gonna get right into it because I'm excited to get this sub in. We're gonna go through a break-in process with the weld, but we're gonna do that on a separate video. So here we go. All right, everything's back together. Just quickly, just so you know, I mean, I think the only thing I used in here was a Torx 25 and a 10 millimeter, I think is it. Oh, and the channel locks to put this ring on, which I'll do as soon as I stop, because I seem like I always forget that one thing, and then I got an air leak and I can hear it when I'm getting on it real hard. So then I have that, oh, I'm an idiot moment. So, but yeah, that's done. Now we're gonna button up, zip tie this wiring, get the covers back on, get the remote switch mounted, and then we'll get this cover back on, get the back seat back in, get, yeah, and then once that's done, we can put our subfloor back in and start reconnecting everything. We'll reconnect the air ride's power and the manifolds line to the tank. And then we will start, we'll finish off with the LC2I that we just got to run that power and the ground on that. Once the subfloor's in, the RCAs are already hooked into the amp and ran through the subfloor. They're in a nice neat bundle, zip tied. We'll plug that right into there. That'll be done. And then we can run the power and the ground for the amp. Plug in the RC, or plug in the speaker wires. And I think we're going to be about ready to rock and roll. So, but yeah, here we go. Alright, here we are. We just we've got everything done. We just got to hook up the speaker wires to the amp, power and the ground to the amp. This red wire is the power wire that we're going to feed off from the power wire coming to the amp to run the LC2I Pro. We've got to reconnect, resplice our power wires on our compressor. Plug up one air line that plugs into the back of the air tank. Once that's done, we'll put the back seat back in because that just snaps in. We'll come up here, we'll disconnect the ground. And then we're going to splice this into our fuse. Mount our fuse right in the top of this fuse box here. We'll splice right into here, splice this into here. The connector will go right over to there. Bing, bang, boom. This will be done. I really like the way this turned out. That sub sitting in there, just amp on a 45-degree angle. And yeah, I know you can see the wood. This is off right now because we got to run air lines or electrical lines that go down through here. And then they poke up through here. So this will be re-stapled and re-glued to that. But I think this thing's sitting here and all the fur kicking and flying around it while it's rocking out is going to be a really cool addition to the car. So yeah, let's get the rest of this done, and we're going to move on to the UAF. Once we have that done, we're going to move on to the next project because what time is it? It is 10 a.m. We're going to be removing the headliner because we have a count it, 4 color, multi-color projector, 1,300 strands that we're going to be putting into the headliner. We're also going to be putting the same one into my daughter's car. Now that she's had it for, a few months, here we go. So next weekend, stage 1 tune, followed by UAF feature box. Probably 2-3 weeks after that, we'll do the headliner. Hopefully, here in a few months, we'll put the new exhaust and downpipe on it. And she's still trying to decide if she wants to go static or bagged. She likes static ride, but she likes the way bags look when you're at the show, and I get it. That's why my car's bagged. But yeah, we're gonna rock it out, guys. Let's just keep on keeping on, man. Alright, here we go. It's all hooked up. Gotta find those rattles and stop those. Yeah, freaking way too awesome. I know the sound's not gonna do it justice, but woo! Well, that's a wrap on that one. Appreciate everybody watching. If you have any questions, let me know. I did run into a few little hiccups here and there that were kind of beginner mistakes. One with that LC2i, I totally forgot to run the remote out to the amp. And then I had a little bit of a hiccup with the fuse on the power coming out of the battery as well for the amp. It's just an alignment issue with the fuse fitting in there properly. But I mean, it's straightened out. Everything sounds great. We got everything, all the levels adjusted. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this, you know, give me a like, follow me. Especially if you enjoyed having a nicer, cleaner video. Yeah, that's cool too. So we're going to be making more of those, but you guys have a great day.